very, very long time to realize your dream as an artist.
So in other words, you're saying that like Botswana jazz is not yet appreciated to that extent, and we don't have like quite a number of musicians who are doing jazz music.
Yeah, we don't really have. I mean, really, if you close your eyes and think about it, it's
Yeah. Bra Socca.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, welcome to the 20th Avenue podcast once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I always get uncomfortable when I'm talking to jazz gurus. Like they want to be called Bra Socca Moruakgomo. Bra Socca Moruakgomo. Yeah, how have you been?
I've been fine, thanks.
Yeah,
busy with this and that. As you know, I'm a songwriter, performer, karate instructor. So I'm doing all that.
Yeah.
Farmer, busy family man. So
yeah,
that's my life.
Yeah, busy man. Yes. So today we are commemorating and celebrating International Jazz Day.
Yeah.
Yes. So according to Google, they say this is a day that is celebrated annually because jazz music has united people in all corners of the world.
Yeah.
How true is that?
It is very true. Jazz is a school of music.
Yeah.
And of course, life. Because if you understand the art of living, and know how to express yourself musically, then you'll know how to balance your life. Yeah. So jazz is actually integrated in the society in that manner. And the person behind this, of course, is the great Herbie Hancock, who happens to be a friend of mine from way back when I was still living in America. Yeah, so I'm happy that now it's coming into Southern Africa, or Africa as a whole.
Yes.
And we get to celebrate it. We get to be among the global network of music. Yeah.
And how has jazz contributed in the well-being of Botswana as a country?
Well, to be honest, Botswana is still a very small country with very few artists who made it to the world. Understand, we are very, very few. And unfortunately, they are trying to. I think they don't understand much of the music as something that could bring the society together.
Botswana don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as a result, you end up, realizing that live performances are actually dying off. They want people with backtracks and things like that, who are not really musicians, because true musicians don't do backtracks. You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, those are people who are who want to be identified amongst the musicians, but to be honest, they are not. They just make grooves and release few grooves, and they think they're artists. But it takes a very, very long time to realize your dream as an artist.
So in other words, you're saying that like Botswana jazz is not yet appreciated to that extent, and we don't have like quite a number of musicians who are doing jazz music.
Yeah, we don't really have. I mean, really, if you close your eyes and think about it, it's we're not even more than 5 people who can really make sense on stage.
When it comes to the art of jazz music.
Yeah, very few. Very few. And as a result, we don't even get gigs because people want to do backtrack. They don't seem to understand that. Being a band leader, you're actually providing employment for other people who actually happen to feed, other people as well. So it's a chain of value chain, if you like, where you share, and the money has to be circulated amongst people. Understand?
Yeah.
So it is very, very important to have music performed live with people on stage. You know, to try and get people off the streets and get people doing something that they are good at, which they are good at. Yes, yeah.
So, is it worth it for us as Botswana to celebrate International Chess Day?
It is.
It is.
It is. Get me right, don't get me wrong. People still appreciate it. But they maybe slowly they will get to understand that. Like, for instance, I'll be performing with the youth musicians from Kingdom Arts. You're talking about more than 15 people on stage.
Yes.
This is a miracle for Botswana.
Is it?
You ask yourself, well, how do these kids survive? You know, they're trying to be musicians here. And how are they being supported? To be honest, they're not being supported. It's so frustrating. So there's a lady called Aku who's running the arts, the Kingdom Arts Academy of Music. So she's putting herself out there to try and help these young stars. You understand? So that they can, because there's nothing frustrating like being forced to do something that you don't feel. Understand? You are forced to be a policeman, and that's not your career.
That's not your career, yeah.
You're a musician or a sport person. Why can't you be encouraged and supported along those lines so that you realize your dream? You see what I mean? So it's very frustrating that people with talent, they end up not doing what it's meant for them.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Yeah.
So, yeah, now you're raising up a lot of things that people don't see from behind the scenes. Yeah. So you spoke of this is employment.
It is.
It is, and there's no support.
There's no support at all.
There isn't a support structure.
No, nothing at all. Nothing.
Who's at fault here? Is it the relevant stakeholders? Is it the government? Is it the musicians?
Everybody. First of all, I think musicians, you know, especially the up and coming, they should learn before they jump on stage. You understand? They should learn and understand the craft. You see? Yeah. So that by the time they start making records, they know where they're going. You understand? Not to, you know, I used to tell people that, you know, it's a pity that we don't have record companies anymore. We don't have good producers anymore. You understand? Because back in the day, a producer will tell you, this is not a song. Go and write. Go and write the lyrics if you really want to sing. You understand? But today, everybody does whatever they want to do.
Is it because they've easy access to the recording equipment?
They have easy access to doing this, and which at the end of the day, it bounces back on them. It hits back because you are not ready. Having an idea of a song doesn't mean that you are an artist.
Okay.
It takes many years of work and learning and trying to be better as a person. You understand? But if you rush into recording some lines and nobody says you, nobody criticizes you to say, hey, you are not ready yet, then it's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get upset when you criticize their art. They really get upset to the extent that they don't even talk to you.
Yeah, but how do you get better?
Yeah.
How do you get better?
Yeah.
You have to come around, you know. I mean, I'm a living example, you know. When I was still a youngster studying music, I remember one time I said to Hugh, he was preparing to go on tour, and I said to him, listen, man, why don't you take me along to come and do second trumpet? And he said to me, you know, it's very difficult to bring a student on stage. You just go, just learn. And I was like, wow, this is powerful. You understand? So by the time he listened to me, he was like, wow, is this soccer? I thought it was me. He thought it was himself. You understand?
Yes.
But it took me many years, and for what he told me, you know, one time we also did, I jumped on stage, he called me on stage when he was doing a song called Jabu. Back in the day, there was a club called Club 585. So they used to do Sunday afternoons jazz there. So I went on stage, and played with him and did his solo on the song, which was he recorded. So when I finished playing that, he still pushed me on the mic to play more. And I didn't know what to play. Because what it meant is that I had only memorized what he recorded. You see what I mean?
Yes.
So when we finished, and people was like, you know, people can clap, even if you play bump notes, they will still appreciate you. So when we finished that song, the band took a break. We went on a break. And then I said to him, so what do you think? And he said, I'm not thinking. You better go and practice.
That sounds like him.
So I'm not thinking, so go and practice. You see what I mean? So we were lucky, some of us, to come across people who really criticized you and tell you what you should know, not something that they, to be pleasing you or something. Yeah, I mean, people like Herbie Hancock, for an example, Art Farmer, the great jazz cats. They said to me, stick to your African voice. Don't think you can do jazz here in America, because you can never touch us.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's some of us is the only music we know. You from Africa, you have so much rhythms. You understand? And we are proud of you when you come to the States and be different. Don't come here and try to be one of us, because you can never be. And you're like, wow, this is really powerful. But unfortunately today, these youngsters, nobody's saying anything to them. Which is very sad, and it's going to be difficult for them going forward, because music is not as easy as you think. It's not about doing a gig or recording a record and you think you're a musician. No. It takes a hell lot of effort and time and sacrifice to prove yourself, to be counted among the best.
No, they're listening. I hope they'll take action, because I'm always having conversations with different musicians, especially within the hip hop circles.
Yeah.
They come to me, they'll be like, dude, how come I'm not getting successful? But they call it spitting bars, spitting rhymes, like when they're rapping. I'm like, it's because you're not rapping in Setswana. You have an option of rapping in Setswana, in Kalanga, in Kgalagadi.
Yeah. So much.
And use like beats, like these African rhythm beats and stuff like that. And stop talking about things that we do not have in this part of the world. Yeah. And they never take the...
They don't hear you.
Yes.
They don't hear you.
At all.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
It is very, very... Because we have so much music.
Yes.
In Africa, in Southern Africa, we have a lot of rhythms that you can use. But instead you want to be like Americans or British. There's no way you can.
And the funny thing is, those American and British people, they want to be sound African.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ish.
So before we divert to the topic, International Jazz Day.
Yeah.
You have a lot of shows lined up. I think you have 3 shows.
Yeah,
You've,
about 3 or 4 shows or so, yeah.
You're touring with Budaza.
The great Budaza
The great
from
Budaza.
the Kingdom of Lesotho.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Botswana Princess Amandla Brown.
Amandla.
Yes.
A hell of a powerhouse, a small girl.
Yes.
Such a powerful singer.
Tiny girl with a big voice.
And talented artist.
Yes.
And good songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I've been always wanting to work with her. I remember when we did our last European tour, I wanted to take her along with Kwei-san.
Yes.
You understand? But things didn't work out. But I never gave up. You know, I really wanted to do more with Amandla. I actually want to produce her.
Okay.
Eventually.
No, that's great. That's great.
You understand? Because she's such a talent. And, you know, just getting her music, just play it here only, it's not good enough. She needs to be exposed to the world. She needs to be exposed to big markets and things like that. Yeah. So we'll be going to Francistown after. I think the last time I performed in Francistown was about 40 plus years ago.
Serious? 40 plus years ago?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to go and perform there. So we'll be there on the 4th of May at Tapama Lodge with the great Ndingo, who's a powerhouse of the northern part of the country. You know, and then we go to Maung at Raleig's Hotel. You know, this is a Cresta affair. We're just doing Cresta.
Just doing a Cresta affair.
Yeah, so we'll be there on the 9th and 10th of May. It will be me, myself, Budaza, Amandla Brown, and the great Stiga Sola. Who's actually a powerhouse in Maung as well. He's coming in as a guest artist. I invited him. You know, I normally like when I go to a place to bring the artists there.
The locals that side.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that they should not be standing on the fence and watching. They should be part of the show. Hence, I invited Ndingo. I said, listen, I'm coming to Francistown, but it will be very sad for me to come there and perform without you. The only respect that I can give you is to have you on stage. Yeah. So Stiga Sola, and then in Gaborone Crest on the 2nd of May, it will be me, Budaza, and Amandla Brown. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the fact that you included Amandla. Like, she's a good friend of mine.
Is she?
Yes.
She's a very good person, huh?
Yes. And also the generation gap. Like, I like the fact that you appreciating the younger generation.
Yeah. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. Because sometimes learning, the way we are learning, sometimes you learn from over the table. Yes. You learn from a conversation and see how professionals do it. Yes. Yes. Yeah, you don't have to say anything to anybody, but if they're smart enough and if they're hungry for it, they'll pick it up. Yes, that's very true. They'll pick it up. So Amandla, she's always been my favorite young little girl. Yeah. Speaking of which, earlier on I asked you a question, Kiri, how did Botswana jazz play a role in the world uniting? A lot of people do not know that in the 80s, a lot of international jazz artists, let me just say a lot of South African jazz artists were staying in protest, likes of Hugh Masekela, Jonas Gwangwa. The trombone player. Yes, and there's another gentleman from Sankomoto, Tsepo. Yes. Yeah, Tsepo came here because of Hugh. You know, remember Tsepo was a singer. Yes. So he wanted a job, of course, and he came and joined Kalahari. The band. Yeah. Yes. And he's been Hugh's friend for many years. So they came here, yes, yeah. Yeah, Botswana back then, the music was something else. Huh? Yeah, it was something else. Yeah, but you see, we were still young and just watching. Luckily, some of us had gone to the army and you know, started doing music there. In an academic manner. In an academic manner. But remember, our background, we started playing before we joined the army. So when we get there, we were 10 times ahead of what we were finding there. Yeah, we were way ahead.
Way ahead. So how was the sound in Botswana back then?
Back in the day?
Yes.
Mostly we were doing a lot of covers.
Okay.
Yeah. By then we were not really writing songs. We were just waiting for your Lionel Richie to come up with a hit.
Yes.
And you think you can go and sing it. You know?
Yes.
So that's what we're doing. But after a few years of studying and having, grown up in the industry, I started writing songs, composing, and I never looked back. You understand?
Yes.
Yeah, but Hugh and Bra they had sort of like, brought in a township sound.
Okay.
Which really encouraged a lot of musicians to consider doing music professionally. So
that township sound, it originates from South Africa? Or?
It is, but it's our sound, but originally it's from South Africa, because that's when a lot of, township jazz was played and things like that.
Since you're carrying your instrument, can you just give us a glimpse of how the township jazz sounded back then?
The township jazz?
Yes.
You know this?
Yeah.
By Hugh Masekela.
By Hugh Masekela, right?
Mutlalipule.
Oh, the song that he wrote for his daughter when she was getting married.
Yeah, actually this song was recorded here.
In Botswana?
Yeah, it was recorded when Mutlalipule was born.
Okay.
Mutlalipule was born in Liberia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so not when she was getting married.
So
it was recorded when she was still a little baby.
When she was still a little baby. That was the time of the Kalahari Jazz Band.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it was recorded at Woodpecker. There was a mobile studio.
Konotwana.
Which Hugh and I think Warner Brothers from London.
Yes.
Brought the studio here.
And how many locals benefited from that studio?
Well, not many, to be honest. The only people who recorded there was the South Africans.
The South Africans, when exile.
Yeah, it was a huge project to do release some albums while he was this side, because he had a contract with the Warner Brothers. You understand? So he did. I think he did 2 albums there. The Yone Mutlalipule album, I think it's called Rain. That album. And then he did Working for a Dollar Bill. That was his second album.
Is it the album which is about Don't Go Losing It, Baby? Don't
Go Lose It, Baby, Working for a Dollar Bill, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, the locals that were in that Kalahari band was John Silelwane, Aubrey Walkie, Banjo Mosele, and Bully Tsienyane. Those were the 4 guys that made the Kalahari band. But of course, recording is something else.
Recording is something else, yes. No, but Bra Socca, when you're saying this, like Warner Brothers and Hugh Masekela, they set up a studio in Gaborone. This is like rich history, and with such rich history, I would expect like jazz would be a serious powerhouse in Botswana.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing about it is that the sad part about our country is that things or people come up with very good initiatives in the country, but at the end of the day, they end up not benefiting the locals, because nobody questions. Oh, okay, you're gonna do this, how is it going to benefit us? You understand? So hence all these things happen around us, and they end up, not you won't even know what happened, how it went. It did not. It was not sustained. You see. Yeah, but there was a good talent of musicians that came out from the 70s. me being one of them, you know, and but eventually people fall apart.
Yes.
Because either one did not have focus, and he ended up being lazy as time goes on. You understand? Or either we did not understand the business part of it, and you get frustrated because you're not making anything out of it. You understand? But you see, with me, it was a different ball game because I was actually learning. For me, during those years, it was more of learning. You know, I was not being driven by money. Yeah, I just wanted to learn. You understand? And at a later stage, then I had to understand the business part of it. Yeah.
So as musicians, like you tend to come across a lot of temptations and things of the world. Back then, like in the 70s, 80s, how was it like? Because I see a lot of musicians, they blow money fast on alcohol, women, and drugs.
Yeah.
Yes. Back then, how were you guys managing it?
It was different because back then we were young. And like I said earlier on, you know, we had people who wouldn't encourage any youngster to be one of them. You understand? Say, hey, we are talking, just go and just go out there. You understand? And when you try to do maybe one of the songs, they tell you, hey, you're not ready to do the song. You can't do it.
Go and practice.
Go and practice. And when you listen to great singers like your Chico Mokwena, the late Chico Mokwena, may so rest in peace, from the Minerals, then you'll understand your Korimoraba. You understand what it meant by singing. That's why great singers who will treat a song and do the song in a way that you say, wow, what is this?
Speaking of that, like I hear there's different types of jazz music. Can you give us a breakdown of the types of jazz music that? Because of narrative jazz, Trumpy Taylor, like.
Well, you see, originally jazz is from the Orleans. Yeah, it's from America. And the name jazz actually was, that's why, you know, the late Miles Davis didn't like jazz. You tell him, playing jazz, he say, get out of here. He didn't like it.
Okay.
But you know, Shabins, like in the States, those are called, you know, like beer spots.
Spot.
Yeah, you know. So there will always be a piano there. You understand? And there will be like few girls, maybe 2, 3 beautiful girls. You understand? And the cats, you know, big guys come there to have fun with these women, buying alcohol and things like that. So when he takes long time with the lady in the room, you know, the woman who's actually running that place will say, hey, just jazz it up, you know, on the piano, so that to make them aware that it's time up. This is how the name jazz came about.
Okay.
Just jazz it up. So the guy will play piano there. And the girl will know because she should have been told that as soon as you hear the piano play, you must know that your time is up with that guy. You see? Okay. But ideally, this music is from the New Orleans.
Okay.
As jazz, which was done by horns and piano and an upright bass, you know, like the upright.
Like the big one.
Yeah. Okay. So eventually it transcended into other places and things like that, and people gave it a different interpretation. You understand? Because then you will have your American jazz, your township jazz, you understand, that kind of a thing. But to be honest, we are just doing music and we are borrowing from jazz because, like I said earlier, jazz is a school.
It's a school.
Yeah, we are borrowing, you know, some elements from there to intertwine it with our music, to incorporate it with what we are doing. Yes.
So do we have something like Botswana jazz? Like do we have a sound ya Botswana like jazz?
That is what I'm saying. I wouldn't want that to be called jazz. I would like to be called I normally tell when I do interviews around the world, I tell them that I'm doing a horn, which is an extension of my voice. You understand? But I'm doing songs from next door. Mama Jimpele Wana Yo Kyalema. See, these are songs that were sang when people were plowing and that sort of thing. And we're trying to bring them to life and modernize them. You know?
Yeah.
But as soon as you start talking about jazz, then people understand something else. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the El Clues type, I think he plays a bass or something. And there's a brother from Botswana, City also.
City, yeah.
He plays the guitar.
Yeah, he plays bass City, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He plays a bass guitar. Those, City and them went to study music under government scholarship in Durban.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see, sometimes when you do music, you become boxed in because you are introduced to a certain type of music. You understand? Luckily, I either divorced that or I did not agree. My mind was telling me something because I started studying in the army, but I was really getting bored because I was better off playing without reading a score.
Oh.
You understand?
Yes.
So when I left the army in 1986, I went to the UK, and a friend of mine got me to the Royal College of Music. It was still classical, which was not really exciting for me. But then back then in London, there used to be, one of these billboards, the ones that the electronic advertising. So there was this advert from New York City. The guy is holding a big apple like this, and they play jazz and say, New York City, the big apple. And you see that apple is like big like this.
Yes.
And all of us wanted to go to America. You see?
Yes.
So that's how I ended up there. So when I got there because of my connections, I also met a friend of mine, Alan English, who then got me to Juilliard School of Music back then. You understand? My stay there was not long because I was still exposed to classical music.
Okay.
But then this white guy said to me, hey, you are wasting your time. What are you doing? I said, what do you mean? I'm studying. He says, go and play.
Okay.
These people are slowing you down. Just go and play, you can play. Then I never looked back, then I went.
And you went?
Yeah. So my mind and people around me really helped me not to be swallowed into this kind of sound, which is maybe like jazz or something like that. You understand? So I still play and enjoy, African music.
African music.
Yeah.
So, as you explained, you mentioned you studied in the States at the PDF camp. So, you did mention that you studied in America at the PDF, and you also spoke of city studying in Durban. So, why is it that it's taking a long time that we have such structures more Botswana? Academic. I know with Kingdom City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kingdom Arts, yeah.
Kingdom Arts, yes.
Yeah.
And then with these teachers, like in small spaces, but we need like such a powerhouse institution. It's mentoring here.
Yeah, you see that. First of all, I mean, if the government can recognize that and use these people that have experience to teach, that would be great. Because again, we have Ministry of Arts and Culture and all those things. You understand? But what are they doing as far as the arts are concerned? Why can't we have a place where people are formally employed and teach? You see what I mean? That's what is lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So people do these things in small little groups, you know, and you know, it doesn't really get them far, because you need everybody around you to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You see.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, thank God back then when the BDF advertised that they actually offer music courses and things like that, we jumped.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, we went there with a whole wealth of experience as musicians.
Mm-hmm.
We are already playing.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we got there, myself, the late Tsilo Baitsile, and the late Malombo Mereki, may their souls rest in peace, we introduced dance band music. You see, they were just doing brass music.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Doing military music and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, we got there, we learned how to read and understand the score and things like that. But then we introduced a wing of music that people can identify with.
Mm-hmm.
Hence today there's a BDF dance band. That's our brainchild.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's us who introduced the dance band in the army.
Okay.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
so can you see now? We did that during the time, but had they realized that we can actually use these people
Mm-hmm.
to you know, to teach and get this thing off the ground, it would have been, Botswana would be far right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, people were just picking it by watching us and copying what we're doing and doing covers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? Which is not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't, you know, there's a world jazz drummer, Billy Cobham.
Mm-hmm.
We're discussing. He's also a friend of mine. He's American, but he lives in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Zurich.
Mm-hmm.
He said to me, Soccer, you know, if you don't have reading, is not everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have it, don't miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Because people who cannot read play much better than those who
Okay.
can read.
Okay. Okay.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the talent that you have, you just need to enhance it by working hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was well said.
Yeah.
Before we conclude, there's a jazz sister, an artist called Germa Rantau.
Mm.
She's always airing her frustrations. Her dream is to go to a place called Samekwa Jazz Music. Back then, Samekwa Jazz Music every Sunday in different spots across the city. But Malatriano like the change. What does that mean? Like?
Yeah, that's what I was telling you, that you know, live music is gone.
Mm.
It's only few of us that are still trying to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, you know, it has been phased away. Unfortunately, we don't have the system that could see this and make sure that they bring live performances back. I remember when, but by that time I think I was living in London.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when when Billy Ocean released the song "The Going Gets Tough."
Mm-hmm.
You remember that song?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And we going, you know, the going gets tough and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So then they brought in, when they were doing the video for that song,
Yes.
because it was a hit song, and they brought in, you know, Divino, the film actor, the short guy.
Yes, the short guy.
To mime the guy who was playing saxophone there.
Mm-hmm.
And the British people were mad and said, no, we... And actually that's when live recordings was almost being faded out.
Ah.
And the British fought for it. Said, no, we don't want programming. We want to see people playing live. We want to listen to live recordings. Remember back then you had, you know, artists like your Rod Stewart, your Elton John, You understand? The Rolling Stones, that's millionaires of musicians, and, you know, who really made it big.
Yeah.
So they fought for this, and they even criticized whoever was doing that video. How do you bring a film actor to come and take somebody's job? You understand? We need a musician to do this.
Yeah.
So you need such people in our country who will advocate for the arts and say, bring back live performances. We want to see people performing live. If we don't have it, you know, there must be some institutions where, you know, kids can go and learn how to play instruments. You see, so you need that. But if you don't have it in the system, people only talk politics and even in cheap politics for that matter. It's sad. It's sad because you know, the whole thing is fading away. Tomorrow there won't be Socca Moruakgomo there. You start saying that he was a great guy, but what did you do when I was alive? You know?
Yeah, I get you.
So that's why people like Boki Aroma are frustrated, because they don't have places where they can go and perform. I mean, she writes good music, but where is she taking it? Because today there are no record companies. During our time, we were lucky. I mean, I did 2 or 3 albums with Cool Spot. You understand? But now the record companies were already like fading out now. They're now just releasing, you know, doing the catalog of different artists and all that. But back in the day, we'll enjoy, you know, being signed by a record company. And if you are being mistreated or cheated, you'll be cheated by a record company, not by an individual. You see what I mean?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you realize that you know, your contract was worthwhile. Yeah.
No, I think after this conversation that me and you just said, my hope relevant stakeholders are listening, industry players are listening, and something will happen.
That would be great. Most of that, they say we are in, they call it a new Botswana. Let's see where the new Botswana is going with the new government. Let's see the vision as far as the arts are concerned, and trying to empower Botswana in different ways and all. Let's see all this. If it takes shape, that would be great. Because then people will specialize. You wouldn't have to leave what you are doing and what you are good at and work on something else, a banker. You understand?
And you'll be bored there.
And be bored there, because that's not you.
That's what Tumele Tusiriti told me.
Tumele is the artist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saying, he used to be a journalist like me.
Yeah.
He was saying that he was bored all the time, like when he loves writing, but his passion was in live performance. Yeah. And he sacrificed, he left everything.
Yeah. For that.
Yes.
And see where he is now.
Yes.
Now he has to be elevated and bring another serenity. You understand?
Yes.
Because they can see that this is working. But you see, in our country, we have a serious problem of pulling down syndrome. You understand?
PTS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a serious problem. That's why Botswana, we are not progressing. We don't progress because you cannot support a good thing. And if it means spending money, you would rather have it for free, or rather don't have it. Or bring in somebody from outside the country to come and pay that person. You know, a lot of us are 10 times better than that artist. You understand? Yeah. So we have to learn to own it and to support our own. You know, then that's the only way we can grow and be able to say, yeah, this is our artist, we have invested on him, and we are proud that he's now a powerhouse and he has created employment in different ways. Because being a musician doesn't mean that your life is on stage. I mean, you like right now. I'm a farmer. I have livestock. I have a farm. I'm a family man. You understand? So I had to also channel my investments there. You see. So I'm empowering other people. I'm feeding other people. Yeah.
No, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. So we want to see that being encouraged. Hey.
No,
but if the government is going to take BDF band or prisons band to come and play at the gala dinner because they are not being paid for that gig, whereas we have professionals who can do that gig and you pay them, then we still have a long way to go because we don't understand. You see?
No, I get you.
Yeah.
No, I think with time things will change.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so. No, Bra Socca Moruakgomo, thank you so much for paying us a visit as we celebrate International Jazz Day. But you know, you can't live without.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, okay.
I hope people will come to the shows. Remember that on the 30th, which is next week Wednesday, we'll be doing Botswana craft with the students from Kingdom Arts Academy.
Yes.
This is Aku's initiative. She brought me in to come and inspire them.
Okay.
Because and they're doing about 5 of my songs. They've arranged them.
Okay.
And I'm just coming there to play and direct them.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Yes, thank you.